Call to order. All right, so we know we only have this room to 5:30. We got a full agenda today. So let's get started. We're gonna go with roll call. Please go around for introductions. We'll start with Mr. McIntyre, the finish agenda.
David Bailey, representing District Ybor Neighborhood Civic Association.
Steve Harvest, Ybor Civic Society.
Rich Simmons, member at large, past chair. CAC.
Mike Glenn Murphy, Silver Meteor Gallery, sitting at large. Jack Smith, president, member at large.
There was some Aida, Hillsborough, Brittany Berry, Berry House Beer Co. Business Center.
Carolyn Cheatham Rhodes, Historic East Ybor and Gary Neighborhood Civic Association or Neighborhood Association.
Price.
Bryce Farringer, campus CRA staff. Mark Verdini, operation manager for the Ybor City S team. Lee Bell, Ybor Chamber.
The CAC City in Code Enforcement. Ed Austin, resident, and Hank Board.
Caitlin Blackman, Ybor resident, and Hika board.
Justin Martin, Tampa League Quarters.
David Swagger, resident.
Is the on-street parking coordinator?
Alicia Jacobson, the off-street partner in the city of Tampa.
Feathers, parking director for City of Tampa.
Sylvia Wright, customer experience supervisor for city of Tampa.
Miguel Sanchez, Technology and Innovation.
Brenda Thrower, Ybor CRA manager.
Tom DeGeorge, owner of Crowbar and also president of the Ybor Merchants Association chair. All right, public comment?
Yeah, I'm here to learn more about parking because I think we have parking concerns in the community. I appreciate that being here. And also safety. I think the city is having a pedestrian safety workshop next week. I live on 4th, and now we have dump trucks, cement trucks, buses, speeding, all sorts of things going on down there. And now they're dumping cruise parking traffic onto 4th. So it's become quite an issue and a concern. So I just wanted to hear more about it. And thanks for giving me the time to talk.
And thank you for being here. Any other public comment?
Online.
Oh, that's number 2. What about these people on the?
No, nobody said anything yet about public comment. They can hear us, but no one's wrote anything or messaged about public comment.
Okay.
I think we're good.
All right. Approval of minutes.
Okay, I just want to tell y'all, we didn't have an official meeting in November, so there's no minutes for that. So these are
Right.
the minutes from
For
October.
October.
We were short one person by quorum last month. So we had a little community conversation in today's agenda. You're going to see a couple of a presentation that was from November that's going to take place today. So it's just October 28th minutes.
Will approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Minute passed.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to item number 4, community policing updates. Tampa Police Report.
Afternoon, and Lieutenant Justin Martins. I'm assigned to basically the Ybor enforcement function of the police department. So I have stats over the last month. Really, there's nothing but great news. Every category that we track is down and down significantly. So we have what's called Big Five. That's 5 major crimes that we monitor. To a heightened level. Those crimes as a whole are down 72%. And then overall for this area, the Ybor area, we're down 78.5%. So in every area, we're down significantly. We've had no homicides, no sexual offenses, some of the other hot topics, major crimes. So obviously we like your input and what you guys see out there. But from our perspective, from an actual crime occurrence perspective, we're in a good spot. So I know the other hot topic, and I just had a meeting about it yesterday, is homelessness. It's going to be kind of like a focus for us over the next year. We start our new year February 1st, and so we're going into our new year. So homelessness and how to properly deal with the concerns that surround that is something that will be on our radar. But that being the case, when we look at numbers this year compared to last year, in various categories related to homelessness, again, our numbers and showing enforcement and our efforts towards that are significantly higher. You know, some areas 300%, 600% in different enforcement areas and of how to assist in that area. So I don't know if that spurred any questions or became with questions, but I will do my best to answer them. I can't promise I'll have all the answers.
Chair, I have a question. I have a question, sir, is, you mentioned that homelessness as a new focus. Is there something specific? Can you elaborate on that? Is there going to be some kind of program or something that you're going to share with the community?
Yeah, so I think it's more just making it more of a concern in terms or more of a focus for our patrol officers. We have an operation plan identifying specific areas that we routinely get complaints or we routinely see them congregating, residing, different things like that. And just make it a concerted effort to be there, offer the resources that we have. You know, so again, I think that it's more of just a lot of times we get blinded, you know, we're going to a call, we're dealing with this, we're doing that, we're dealing with these major crimes. And I think sometimes falls by the wayside. And so I think we're just trying to refocus and have a new concerted effort to make sure everyone knows what the resources are, what the laws are surrounding homelessness and how we can, you know, assist in those different areas.
I have a question. Is there a specific, we had for the past 4 or 5 years, specific officers like Officer Whitney, Officer House, they used to come and present reports. And candidly, over the last year and a half, it's been few or none that have given us reports in terms of, do we have a specific officer that will be reporting to us as a board and giving us reports, and who is that person?
So on this cycle, it's Officer Bridget Vasquez. I was here, I believe, for the last meeting, maybe not the one you were talking about where there wasn't part, maybe it's the one before that, but I was here for one recently and she was here for that one. I did expect her to be here today, so I don't know if she got caught on a call. I don't know why she's not here. But on this cycle, it is Officer Bridget Vasquez. The name on the opposite cycle, I don't work that cycle and it's escaped me. But I will make note of that to make sure that when it falls on each of those cycles, to make sure that the honest liaison is coming and give you guys a report.
Thank you.
Got it down.
Question.
Sure.
And I don't know if you'll know the answer to this, but the pedestrian safety meeting on Monday, February 2nd, is there somebody here who's already saying that they're super interested about the pedestrian safety stuff? Can you let us know what the format of that is and anybody who's coming, if like what they should bring with them, or if they should bring notes, or if there's a way for them to submit, you know, their questions and concerns ahead of time and where they would send that to?
By the police department. I don't know who's actually running that. I don't have any knowledge of it personally.
Yeah, it's a combination between
Okay.
the ability, the police, the mayor's office, CRA. So
Right, so
it was supposed to,
representative there, but
That's what it
Right.
said. It said Jane Castor, Nia Young, and I
It's in your
believe
packet.
the chief of police. I just didn't know if there was something we could do, you know, when I look at what they've sent out, all it really has is the location and the time. It doesn't, you know, and when I've been involved in town halls like this, a lot of people show up. A lot of people want their opinion heard, but there's nothing here that I can see that says, hey, if you want to get your point across, you could submit your concerns to this email or something. This way, when people show up, there's an actual idea of feelings other than a bunch of people just screaming at each other.
yeah, no, I hear you. I wish I had a better answer for you, but I'm not involved in that. And like I said, as you say who's going to be involved in it. It sounds like it's coming down from City Hall,
Mhm.
and we've been invited to participate in it. As well as, any citizens and their concerns. So my suggestion would be show up with your concerns and whatever evidence or pictures or videos or anything else that you might want to present. So
Good.
I wish I had better.
That's an honest answer. I like that. Any other questions?
All right.
Thank
See
you
in the
very
next one.
much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, so next up is the homeless liaison report, but there's not specific yet. So we will move to item 4C, which is the enhanced code enforcement report with Officer Nick.
Packet, we have, the last two reports, I did want to quote these, we got some new businesses, we've got some, new bars and clubs, so just making sure that they're playing along with the same rules as everybody else. Those cases will be followed up on, so one citation was issued, some of the other businesses actually this weekend we'll have people working, so they will be issuing citations. As of now, there aren't any others right away permits still have issued as of now. Outside of that, as you can see, we also have been mentions about Fourth Ave. I was called 2 weeks ago regarding that issue, and we got immediately on it. We have cases, it's 3 different parcels, that parking on Fourth stands on for the future parking. All of those have been cited. We also, there's one on Fifth Ave, that we identified doing the same. We have spoken with that owner and we attempted to try to get it under control. However, the parking operator is not heeding his warning. So as of today, we are going to move forward with citing that property as well. So any questions outside of that, concerns?
Mr. Chair. On the main calls that we get are on the food truck with the gas generator running.
Yeah, so we have a case right now, going forward for the actual change of use for that club. The code section that we would be citing for would be, we can't regulate a food truck per se. They've been given an advisory notice regarding how they have to operate. They are a self-contained food truck, so they are operating fine under that. They don't have any tables out, things of that nature, at least that we have seen, and actually we haven't been able to see them active. But for they're gonna need to get a special use in order to be on that lot. That's gonna be under the same code section as what they actually are cited for now, and that's going to a hearing next month. So I'm waiting for a legal decision in regards to, can we cite for that same code section? Are we gonna, kind of wait? I mean, they're gonna be running fines anyway. Do we add it to that? Do we ask for a higher fine? So I'm kind of waiting on a legal determination, but they are cited for that issue. We might have to rehash it on that same.
Key questions on the food truck. Hey, I don't agree with this policy, but I've always been told that Ybor has a prohibition against food trucks. There's no vending in Ybor City. So I'm curious why legal might be saying that you can vend in Ybor City.
All municipalities, counties were preempted by the state on requiring a vending license for mobile food vendors, whether it's a truck, trailer, whatever it be. Because of that preemption, so in the past, we would say you need to get a permit for the food truck. They can't get a permit in Ybor City. However, now they don't need a permit for it. They still need to have the proper zoning and the proper approval for the property they're on. And that lot does not allow for a food truck outside of having further approvals, which they're already cited for further approvals for this.
Second question,
Yes.
Related to that. So the gas generator, like we've got houses across the street and it's like, it's every Thursday. Now it's Thursday afternoon, Friday afternoon, Saturday afternoon. They just fire it up and they run until they know that you're gonna show up. So who are we supposed to call on the hours that we know that you're not patrolling Ybor City? Is that TPE, non-emergency? Because I guarantee you in South Tampa, if there was a generator across the street from the mayor's house, it wouldn't be there for as long as it was.
I mean, part of the issue is we don't handle noise complaints. I don't think that generator is meeting the requirements in order to issue a noise ordinance violation, and also it's within the hours that, it's not within quiet hours either. So I guess I don't know. Outside of that, I mean, if it was claimed to be a public nuisance, then maybe there's something we can do in regards to that. But food truck rules, I don't.
I won't belabor the point, but with legal argument so that we can kind of check in with them, because I know that's an important part of the conversation.
So Kamara Benizmak is our attorney. We did get that information in regards to the code section would be the same. And so we have to follow up with her. We have a meeting next Tuesday in regards to this case that's going before the magistrate on the 11th. And in that meeting, we're going to ask in regards to, citing for the same code section.
Thank you.
No worries. Mr. Bailey, did you also submit a complaint by chance regarding 1603 East State? The lot right down, 5th and 16th, catty corner for the Empire Village.
I think I might have, I'm sure I did.
I know that, I think someone said, thought maybe you did, but,
I'm sure they do.
well, that lot, we're moving forward on site. So the cruise ship parking, because they have, they got approval for parking as an accessory to other businesses in the area. That lot and another lot that he was referencing on Fourth, those cars being parked, first of all, they're jammed in there. I mean, there's on that small 5th lot, they have approval to park 30 cars. I think that they had 50 cars there. But all those cars are serving channel side. They're not serving the businesses in Ybor. It becomes principal parking at that point. They're overnight parking. So that's not allowed within the Ybor district.
And what's the third lot that you're citing as far as cruise ship park?
Well, it's okay. So there's 3 parcels and it's all essentially functioning as one lot on Fourth. And then there's one on the corner of 5th and 16th. And that's actually 2 different parcels. I don't know the third one.
They're also on the train tracks as well. Like CSX right away.
And they're doing the long-term parking there.
I believe so.
I guess there's the third. Check. We're gonna try to hammer it. Because they're just gonna bounce around within Ybor. If they want to do it, we're gonna try to push them to channel side where, I mean, it's not my problem anymore once. So the enforcement over there. And hopefully it's less, it's not in the historic district.
Yeah, the contagion, once all of the parking operators know that they can do it, it's kind of.
Hey, exactly. We've had to deal with it with the operators within Ybor, and we've, kind of got them under control. And now people outside of Ybor are trying to use Ybor as parking lot. So.
Are all the lots by the same ownership group?
No, the 3 on Fourth are all the same ownership, but the operator, the parking operator is the same parking lot, from my information. Anything else?
Any more questions for code enforcement?
Are you with the street parking enforcement also, or with what? No, sir, we don't do any street parking.
All right, thank you very much. All right, next up, Ybor Yes Team report, Mark Renini.
Good evening, everybody. So November, December, those are obviously very big months for us. We assist with getting up all the holiday decorations, we do a kind of a graffiti suite, maybe help them look as best as it could be, especially in the walking area. We have the Relax Quest Bowl, which we're actually also in it. So we're cleaning before it, we're in it, and then we're cleaning after it, securing it, doing all that stuff. So a lot of events for those months. And then we have a yearly statistical breakdown for both our clean and our safety team. For the most part, our important numbers for our clean team, we have decreases and increases, which for us are good. The bills and stickers have been down. Our infrastructure. We always see a causation correlation with a certain segment of our unhoused population, because that's everything that's kind of like biological waste. And then our trash bag collection is up. And then on our safety side, so I know that homelessness was brought up as a big concern. So our numbers in regards to homelessness, we've been tracking it for longer. So our baselines are different than maybe what law enforcement be with their 300% increases, as was stated. So ours are a little bit different. We have decreases because we're there dealing with that concern each and every day. Not as a cure, so to say, but as an engagement force out there actively on the streets of Ybor. So our numbers in that regard are good. One of the main things that I would like to point out is our non-compliance on sit, lie, and sleeps, which is anytime that we encounter somebody that is actively just laying out on a sidewalk or blocking right of way. Because we have already established relationships within the unhoused community, we don't have arguments maybe as we did 3 years ago when trying to engage with these individuals. They understand our purpose here, what we're trying to do in the community, and they're following the rules. They're doing their part, being in the area of making sure that it doesn't become a problem that we have to then contact law enforcement. They just make the decision on their own to move to a bench, or just leave or vacate the area altogether. So for us, we're happy with our numbers. And already coming into this month, we're going to be reporting a lot. You'll see it in our next month's meeting. But of course, we've had a bunch of wind, cold weather come through. We kind of had to make an emergency decision to kind of pick up all these palm fronds and lawn clippings and everything else. And we, with Brenda's approval, we were able to take 4 tons worth of this kind of just material over to McCain Bay and get it out of the district and visually make things look a little bit better, as much as we can control the leaves and all the stuff in the desert. So that's all that I have. If you all have any questions for me.
All right, thank you very much. All right, getting on to number 5A, parking discussion with Fed Revolta.
Yeah. To turn the camera around.
Sorry, there's good friend.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Fred Revolt, most of you know me, but what I wanted to do for this meeting, because I know there was a lot of parking questions, I brought in pretty much my entire, like upper level team, just so that way, one, they can hear the questions first, firsthand, take some notes. Any questions that we're not able to answer today, we'll be able to follow up. I also did a quick presentation just to show everybody's on there. So we'll go over the org chart and then the team's responsibilities and also any improvement, just quick updates. And then after that, we'll take questions and answer as many questions as we can. We can go into the. We'll start with Jason. He was with me the last time we was in the meeting. So Jason oversees all maintenance, security, so the painting, the cleaning contract that we have for parking, and then also the security contract. And then Austin is my parking and micromobility planner. So for the scooters, the e-bike, all the rental stuff, that's under Austin. And then Sylvia, she is 2 weeks in, not even 2 weeks yet. So her role is very critical, and hopefully this meeting doesn't scare her away. So her main focus is going to be the customer experience. So if you guys have any concern as far as signage is not properly aligned, it could confuse the customer. If the apps are not working properly, that's going to be her primary focus. So we also have Alice, who's actually starting next month. and Kalicia was the off-street coordinator who's here. And then Theo was the on-street coordinator that's on the enforcement side. They both will report to Alice whenever she starts. But part of some of the, I guess, delayed in response sometimes where if a question involves both on-street and off-street, it's hard for Kalicia to provide the full answer, and then it's hard for Theo to provide the full answer. So that's where Sylvia's gonna come in. Instead of you guys dealing with multiple people, she'll be the, point person to basically reach out to Kalicia, Elise, and Jason, Austin, and basically provide that answer to you guys. So just going over, like I said, Jason is all the maintenance, cleaning, painting, security for pretty much the entire parking division. We go to the next one, Austin. So as mentioned, the e-bikes, the scooters, any special projects on street. So for example, there's one question here on 16th Street where all of the parking signage, I guess, got pulled out. So what his job is to create a model, create a plan, make sure it meets transportation, any requirement, get that over to Jason and his team so that way they can install those signs. And then, as I mentioned, Sylvia, she's basically customer experience and any business services. So all the different apps that we use, any software, that's going to be her primary focus. All right, Kalicia, Theo, and then could go to the next one. All right, so just quick couple updates. The garage painting for the central Ybor garage, we're pretty much done with that garage painting. Right now, we're actually working over at home garage. So we did the public side, stop on the first level. There's so many cars there. Then we went over to the HCC side. Pretty much we'll be done with that at the end of this week. Then after that, we'll coordinate with all the residents that's parking on the public side and then get that taken care of. So hopefully we can get home garage done by the end of March. Restroom improvements. I don't have total numbers yet, but it's probably going to be about 200 grand that we're putting into the public restrooms. Before it used to be under, Brenda's group, but there was a lot of back and forth between who should spend the money. Is it her group? But because it's in the garage, is it parking? I have the money. Just to make it simple, we'll take care of all the restroom improvement. And the other thing too, if the restrooms are closed, they're using the garage as restroom anyway. So I have all the incentive in the world to get the restrooms taken care of. All of the actual equipment in the bathrooms will be replaced. And then facilities said the tiles and the floor need some work. So basically they're gonna rip everything out and turn it brand new. So that's the number that I don't have yet. So I think it was about
the pipes and everything.
Everything. Was it about 60 grand, I think, for the original work?
Yeah, it was basically it was 54,000 for Central for the original work. And then now that we're gonna do the pipes and everything, what's up in it.
With the floor and everything, yeah.
Home was a little less than that. But again, now that we're gonna do the piping and whatnot.
So I would say about between, like I said, 200 to 250,000 to get both restrooms fully renovated. And then the security group. So we have a new security group that started officially last month in December. So there's a couple of security comments on there. So we'll get over on those. So I know David gave me this. I'm not sure if everybody had access to see that, but that's some questions some residents have. And then I'm sure some of you guys have questions as well. So what I'll do, I'll go over some of those real quick and then be able to answer some of you guys' questions. The first two are basically related to security. I guess noise coming out of the central Ybor garage. And then also just people, I guess, behaving badly. But when the questions get asked to security, they're basically making some comments that it's not their responsibility. That's incorrect. So security in the garage basically is a function of the parking division. I know they're trespass people. They coordinate with TPD to get people, off the premises. So Jason haven't seen these comments yet. So we'll go back to the security company to see It could be maybe some of the new people that they have, not understanding their complete function, but just so you guys know, security have full authority to work with TPD and stop people from making noise in the garages. If they're speeding or whether it's homelessness that's camping out, they have authority to actually trespass people.
Can we share a couple anecdotes with you guys just so that you know so specifically in one of my neighbors, Dave is here, he lives on the south side of the garage, and it's very common to hear unfortunately a car's gunshot exhaust. And in Ybor City, that puts you on edge, and we don't need that sound any more than we already have it. So that's a pretty common thing. Also, you get kind of like a little car block party on the third floor that, they know that security's down on the ground floor, and it doesn't seem to be mitigated by any phone calls or asking security to do anything about it. It's just this rain of kind of violent noise that's coming down on the residential neighborhood. And I would say you and I both have gone to them numerous times, and it's, again, I hear what you're saying, and I believe you when you say it, Fed, that they're not going to do that anymore. But given that we've lived with it for years now, it's kind of like, but what happens when we do get the same response?
So, first of all, I don't know when those came in. So our new company Signal has just been on with us for essentially a month now, or a month and a half. So it may have come on prior to that with our previous security company. And with our new company, we've actually added guards on Friday and Saturday night to Centro. So they have been instructed, and I have been there and witnessed it. Now, granted, I'm not there every weekend, but I have witnessed it. Not only are they to do tours through the garage, but the exterior of the garage as well.
Yeah.
So can I guarantee somebody's not going to have a car that's going to do that? I can't, but we have added guards to Centro, and they're doing more than they previously were. I think from what you described, and I don't know specifically, but a lot of times in the past where we've received calls and they say they're going to handle something, they didn't have enough security officers to even go send somebody to that, for example, the third floor. That is no longer the case. We have a company that can provide the services that we're requesting.
Yeah. So the one thing I'll say, like, if it's actually reported and then the guard basically blatantly tell you guys, yeah, it's not our responsibility, so there's nothing we can do. That's really the biggest concern for me that I want to take a look at. Because again, it's one thing if we're short and then we only have one guard on 16 and one guard on 15. But if somebody report, hey, they're creating a situation on the third floor, the fourth floor, it should be addressed, and it's on their responsibility to make sure that they address it.
So happy to hear there's a new team on board. In the event that happens, is that feedback going to you or to you?
To Jason.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we'll do, I'll make sure Brenda has everybody's contact information, email, CD's cell number and stuff like that. So that way you guys can work with the team to make sure, again, because if you have the feedback to provide to Jason, then he's able to have those meetings, because he meet with the security team weekly to go over some of these things. So I want to make sure.
Yesterday,
I'm sorry?
did that new team start yesterday?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, they've been here for at least a
It
month.
was no different. And I'm telling you, I invite anybody here between 2 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. on any Friday and Saturday night. I mean, there's just nothing, there's no other word for it, but just swallow it.
You said AM or
AM.
So 2 a.m. to 3 a.m.
3 a.m. to 3:30, and I'm telling you, they sit up there 15, 30, 45 minutes driving their engines because they get the echo effect. And I've heard them do circles and spin outs. One sounds like an employee maybe, if he's there at least 4 or 5 nights a week on his motorcycle. And it's not like they do that and they leave.
Yeah.
They sit there and they shoot the breeze and.
Yeah, again, I won't make any excuses for this.
It's not the hooligans, it's none of it, it's the vehicles.
Yeah.
It's just the biggest disturbance. And I'm telling you, security does absolutely nothing.
No, we'll take care of it. Again, like, they're not my employee. They're a paid contractor, so they're supposed to do their job. So again, that's why. So just to step back a little bit, right? I know it's residents, visitors coming in, parking. Nobody come to Ybor just to park. So our customers are you guys' customers, right? So if we have issues in Ybor that's keeping people away, it affects us as well, because nobody's coming to, like to Ybor just for the parking. They're coming to, whether it's a resident coming to, somebody coming to see a resident or coming to your businesses. So we want to make sure we, address it. So again, from my perspective, I haven't heard that was happening and it's not being addressed. So we'll make sure this weekend, and I know Jason, chances are he'll probably be here himself. So
1503 Eastern Avenue.
we'll,
330, I'm telling you.
we'll take care of it.
It's something.
We'll take care of it.
On that topic, just one more thing to put on the horizon. It seems like we're kind of reacting to the bad guy. We're like putting money after the symptoms. But if there's any way long-term to do sound mitigation on the south side and the east side of the garage, it's going to make everything easier because you're going to have to chase less guys. We're going to hear less of it from time to time. There's measures to do that. It's just something that's money's going to have to be allocated to do it. So
Okay.
something to think about long
And
term.
I'm opposed to that though. All right. Ground level activation, I'm actually already working on that with, we already got the approval from the, Latino, yeah, so all good there. It's really just working through as far as the level of work that we want to do. It's not just the couple little of offices. We want to take all of the window areas, basically the whole bottom level. We want to turn that into retail spaces to activate that whole section. So it's going to take some time, some coordination, but we are working on that. All right. Second one, the fourth one actually is inconsistent enforcement. I won't force Theo to talk right now. He actually had to get some procedures done. So we'll have to follow back up on that, because it could be a situation where if the officer that's assigned to Ybor know maybe an area that's easy picking to, like, I'll just stick around here and issue a bunch of citation. And if that's what they're doing, we'll address it. So we'll have to pull some reports to see how many citations they're issuing in certain areas versus one. So this is one that we'll have to pull some numbers and then see what's happening. So again, we don't want any one group or any one area feel like they're being targeted. So we want to make sure we'll address that. See, the fifth one is the sign on 16th. Jason, I don't know if you even, well, I don't think you know about that one yet. So that's, Austin already dropped the plan for 16, but I don't think the signs have been installed yet. Is that correct, David?
I did meet with Jason a couple of years ago about that one, but
Yeah.
I'm happy to work with you guys to kind of get it.
Okay, I've seen the plans already. So I know Austin already created the plans. I just don't know if the signs were installed. So it sounds like your team haven't installed the sign.
I don't.
So that one is an easy fix.
With these, striping on the street.
Yeah.
That way it all kind of goes together.
Okay. All right, we'll take care of that one.
So that's
The
on.
designated pickup points, was there any particular area that whoever mentioned has a problem? Because I know we create some 15-minute pickup drop off, but I don't know if there's an area that we need to add more.
I think it's just humans being humans, people will double park on 7th or double park on 8th or double park anywhere, put their hazards on and go grab Uber Eats. I know that you have designated places for that,
Yeah.
so I don't know how to herd the cat on that one, but it's something that came back and resident feedback of,
Okay, yeah, and to your point, like, because the other side as well too, right? So if we take more parking spaces away and
Yeah.
turn them into 15 minutes, so it means people can't park in those
Right.
spaces if they're going to a restaurant.
Yeah.
But then the people that the spaces are for are not utilizing them because they don't care. They just
same with
want
the
to,
break zones.
yeah, they just want to park on 7th and do whatever they need to do. So we created a few of those spaces, but if we need to relocate or add more, I'd be more than happy to do so. It's just, I know the main thing is we don't want to take too many actual parking spaces away and turn them into those 15-minute spaces.
The last one Ed brought up was people parking the wrong way. Is that a TPD thing or is that a you thing?
Both.
Okay.
So it's not TPD's top priority, obviously, because it's parking related, but they can issue citations for parking in the wrong way.
Got it.
All right, that's all the questions that came in. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that the group might have. If there's any additional. Yes, sir.
The parking garage, the window display, are you guys in charge of that as well?
Yeah, that's the one that we're working on, like on the first levels, correct?
Right.
Yeah, we're working on that. So we want to take those window display and turn them into actual retail spaces.
So I know that we've chatted before and thank y'all for coming. Sylvia, you reached out to me, so I gotta call you for sure. Lisa, I speak with you before. And so I'm a small business owner in Ybor City and we are feeling the pain right now of just Ybor City numbers being down. And then it kind of was like a double whammy of parking rates on street and in the garages went up. So monthly rates and daily rates and now flat fee on the weekend. And while those rates are the cheapest of the parking options for guests to come to the area, if you don't have a designated parking space for your business, customers are not coming. Now that's not just for Ybor, right? That's all of city of downtown core, city of Tampa. You have to expect to pay to park if you're coming. Straight up, there's no other way unless you're parking at the Columbia, which has their own designated spots, and very other few businesses. It's hurting a lot of small businesses in Ybor City and downtown because people can go elsewhere, Seminole Heights, other places and park for free. So I don't know if there is a way, and I know that like the resident worker survey that just came out, the workers' biggest dissatisfaction is affordable parking, followed by strong sense of personal safety and good parking accessibility. Affordable parking was trending upward as a concern, especially because the last resident worker study was done prior to all of the spaces being striped and now charged. So we had the luxury in Ybor City of not having to pay for parking for years until 2 years ago.
And actually, like,
Was it more than that?
yeah.
4 years ago now?
It was right out the pandemic.
Yeah, and then we got lucky and not all the spaces were striped and then, everything became striped. 75% of workers from the study are dissatisfied with the distance of parking to their workplace. And we are competing with businesses outside of the core that have free park. So increase in rates directly affect the number of customers that walk through our doors. Because they're determining whether they're going to spend their money on parking and a beer, parking and a sandwich, or just going somewhere else. So I understand that you're putting money into renovating the restrooms and there's like, you're using the money, which is great to see some changes. But what can we do to partner with small businesses in the downtown core or Ybor City? I don't know if there's a possible validation or partial validation option during like off-peak hours that could be useful for getting people here that otherwise wouldn't be here. Discounting their parking rates during certain times. QR codes and Park mobile apps make it easy now instead of having to pay someone directly. So I've been thinking about this a lot. So, and there are a lot of solutions that I don't think are useful, but this is one that I think that we could explore.
I'll make sure Sylvia schedule a meeting so that way, and this one will be one where we definitely have to brainstorm, right?
It's a big project.
Yeah,
I understand that.
We might think, oh yeah, let's just do it this way, but whether it's technology restraint or, potential use for abuse, and it doesn't actually help with what we're thinking. So, but again, like I said, for me, if nobody's coming to Ybor, I don't make any money either. So I don't want to drive business away. So whatever we can do, we'll definitely explore that.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
I had a couple questions. One, if there's potholes, is that, like, for instance, in our lot, if we get a pothole, sometimes they actually come up fairly quickly.
Inside the lot itself?
Inside the lot itself. Is that Jason?
Yes, that's Jason. We had one, technically, it wasn't the lot because it's the alleyway. So we don't have control over the alleyway, even though you can't really make the distinction between the actual alleyway versus the lot. But if it's the alleyway, that's considered a road and that's transportation. So we've been going back and forth trying to get transportation to fix. I think it was lot 5 or something.
Lot 6, but they came up quick. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's just like, I don't know what the cause. Anyway, so that's Jason. Rent, to rent a lot out, like if you had a special event, who's the person you talk to about that?
So I'll let that be on Sylvia's side, but again, it depends on what the request is and, different things like that, but it will be Sylvia.
Um, Palm Garage, is the Palm Garage getting full? I've heard some people say things about, because of the, people moving in and just the increase in business.
No,
Palm Garage more
we
than-
still have plenty of space in this
Plenty of
garage, yeah.
And then, are there any plans for an east garage, a garage on the
Yes.
east side of
I
town?
can't talk too much on it yet, but I am working on potentially building a garage on the east side, which will be very close to here.
Does it make sense to consider using CRA money for that? Is that,
That's a whole different conversation, but there's restrictions on using CRA money versus, the enterprise money, which is us. But we're having those conversations internally as a city.
well, if we wanted to participate, do we have standing to participate in those discussions?
Too early to say. So the real estate department has a whole process that they have to follow, and there's restrictions and whatnot. But from the parking side, I've made it clear I want to build a garage on the east side of Ybor, and they're working internally to make that happen. As far as, to your point, public-private partnership, CRA money, or just parking, that's for them to figure out. But I want to have a parking garage on the east side, and I'm working on that. All right.
I'm not talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. A question about semis or large trucks parking on Seventh to unload, and whether that's allowed or not.
Not allowed.
Not allowed.
Correct.
Is there, so what happens when it's not, is that a call to make when they're seen unloaded? Because that happens. So just wondering.
You can make that call. If our officers see them, they'll typically try to tell them to move. If not, they'll cite them, but it's not allowed to just park on load. We have a dedicated 24/7 dispatch center. I can give you guys that number right now. And what they do is actually triage that call to whatever the purpose is. So it's 813-274-8523. So 813-274-8523. And they're 24/7. So if you call for enforcement, they'll actually be able to get an enforcement officer there. If you call for security reason, they'll, get their own security team there, maintenance, whatever it is, they'll actually triage that to the correct group. So that's like the best, easy, way to just call and make sure you get a hold of somebody to report something. Same thing for if there's an issue going on in the garage, is that number, they'll be able to get security. And what I like about that, having, like, when people call that number, they have to record every interaction. So then I can see if somebody, call for whatever the reason is. I get a report every morning on, whether it's customer calling or their own officer call or whatever the case is. So that's the best number to reach parking. Okay. Yes, sir.
There's some free lots in Ybor. But I don't feel like people are really aware of when they're free or how to find them. Would that be parking itself that could help advertise that or have better signs? Just see often, like during the day, even when it's not that busy, the lunch crowd's slow, and then you got people that are parking, running in, getting tickets, and probably not going to come back for lunch. Like, is there a way to get the word out better about the different parking options?
I'll probably have to get with the CRM that, not Jason, because now you're talking about putting signage on the street. So
Signage, a media campaign,
Yeah,
just
if it's
whatever we
media
could do to
campaign.
attract people back to the district and say, hey, listen, there are options. I think right now, looking at things over the last few years and the way things are enforced, I totally understand people have to pay. But I think, you have people that are like, man, I'm trying to get a bite or whatever, and they come in and they don't realize there are options there and they're getting the ticket, or if it's late at night, I think they just assume like, hey, it's midnight, it's a Sunday, there's nobody out here, I'm just gonna park, and then they get a ticket. I think you know, I have my customers tell me when that happens, like, man, I love coming to your place, but I'm just not gonna come back to Ybor because I get a parking ticket almost every time I come out here. I think it would really help if we could at least tell them that there's other options for them.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll work with.
or during slower times, maybe at least try to give out more warnings. I just get a little bit concerned from what I hear back from the consumers and the employees too, even employees I hear that get tickets.
So, speaking of that, do we have a process like in St. Petersburg in downtown? If you get a parking ticket, you can take it and you have a receipt from a business that you can take it to the parking ticket office and you get a first time reprieve.
We don't have anything like that.
We don't have that program. And I can tell you, I talk to the St. Pete folks a lot. They absolutely hate it. So
I used it. It was painless.
like, not the customer, not the customer.
Right.
It's, you know, like the division itself, because, you know, they have no choice but to do it. But we do offer warnings and stuff like that for first time. So if somebody get a ticket and they're like, oh, I really didn't know this was, you know, paid parking, for example, or I paid using Park Mobile, but I didn't put the right zone, or I used the incorrect license plate. We do that internally by avoiding that. It's just not if you went to a restaurant and then you show receipt before your ticket, we don't have that. And I would not want to bring that in because places that have it wants to get rid of it. Because it just creates a whole other set of issues.
And then part two of that question, which is a good segue, because we were getting warnings, which was great. I don't think anybody actually got a real ticket, but we had a while there in East Ybor because people were coming into East Ybor and parking there, and people that live there also park there, where we were getting warning tickets, and some of us that live there were getting them for parking, you know, in front of our own homes. But we don't have residential parking in East Ybor like you do here, where there's signs that say, if you live here, you can park in this space from this time to this time. Is there any infrastructure being planned for East Ybor where we would have dedicated residential parking out there on the streets, so residents don't have to worry about possibly getting parking tickets on their cars?
So if you're parking correctly in front of your own home, even in a residential parking area, you will get a citation. So just to be clear, right? Like the residential parking area doesn't mean you park however. Let's say you park on the sidewalk.
Right, but no, I get it, but we don't have any residential parking. There's no signage in East Ybor.
Correct.
That says this is where you can park as a resident. So because there's no signage anywhere, how are people supposed to know where they can correctly park and where they cannot?
So that's the different signage though, because if you're referring to the residential parking program means if you're not a resident, you can't park in that area. Right? That's its own thing.
Right.
What you're referring to is not having proper signage to where people know, okay, this area, let's say you have a sign that says no parking with the arrow, so that way you know you can't park there.
Right.
If that's what you're referring to, that's just us going out and making sure we properly sign areas where we don't want people to park.
Right.
That's easy. But to start a residential parking program, there's a whole different, you know, aspect to it. So it depends on which one you're looking for. If you want
I think
signage,
it's
proper
like
signage,
two-part, because they're really in East Ybor, the only signage that says you can't park somewhere is within a very small area
I got you.
of somebody that was having a problem with the site.
Okay.
And so that's all it says. Everywhere else in East Ybor, there is no signs that says you're not allowed to park anywhere. But cars were getting parking tickets for parking on the street. And so I'm just trying to figure out like how to solve that.
Sorry. They can, it depends though. Like if you park too close to a stop sign, for example, that's just a Florida state statute.
Or
You
you
don't
park
need,
facing the wrong
it's facing the wrong way. Like you don't need
They
signage
do
for
them
that,
all.
right? And it's two-sided. For me, I'll be honest with you guys, whichever way we go, it won't impact me. Some places don't want to put a bunch of signs because then you have signs clutter. It's more so of the driver who has a driver license to know you can't park facing the wrong way. You can't park on the sidewalk. You can't park too close to the stop sign. But if there are areas where it is difficult to know if we can and cannot park, then we'll be more than happy to actually go there and say, okay, because we've done that in other areas where it's like, I really like, I parked there because I thought I could park there, not that I'm trying to, create a problem. We can go and do a visit. So if you want, I can get with you and me and my team will go and do a walkthrough of the areas that you see is a, problem where it's like people are getting tickets parking here because they just thought they could park there. They're not trying to create a problem. No problem to do that. So I can follow up with you.
Sounds great.
Can I ask that quick question about following up on yours about, so, parking map that's available, does that indicate free lots?
It indicates, yeah, but it's hard to get to that one, but it does have it on there. It shows the rates, the hours and stuff like that. What he's referring to is more of like a campaign for people to know, hey, those 3 lots, if you come, you can get, that's more of just doing like advertising, like.
And
So we
make
can
it
talk.
clearer map.
Yes, sir.
Since you brought up residential parking, it's rare, but we've had a couple incidences where people will go on vacation. They leave their car out, they have residential parking permit, and then they get a ticket or a really nasty sticker on the window. And we've talked about this back and forth, and I think your department has a certain interpretation. We have a different one. Is there a way of getting that better defined? Because there's arguably a gray area there that the residential parking permit is a prior arrangement. And you guys have told us that's not a prior arrangement. You have to move your car every day or we can ticket you. And that's not the spirit of the residential parking.
So again, same thing. It's more so the residential parking means this area is only dedicated for residents only. So like, let's say Fifth Avenue, after 6 p.m., you can't park there if you're not a resident or a visitor of a resident.
Right.
It doesn't mean you, a resident, can just leave your car there on the on-street parking space for a week or two because you go on vacation without making prior arrangement with our, team to know you're leaving your vehicle there.
So anything more than 24 hours, we have to call your department and say, I'm going on vacation for 5 days.
I can tell you, no, it's not going to be anything more than 24 hours. The only time it comes into play is when the vehicle either report abandoned or it looks abandoned. So my team is not going out there chalking tires to, check if the vehicle has to move every 24 hours. No.
So we do have one incident that's very recent that it was clearly not an abandoned car. It was just somebody who did not want that car.
I was going to say, a lot of time it's a resident who call us and say, hey, this vehicle is abandoned. And again, we're trying to serve you guys. We're like, okay, well, we'll start the abandon process by chalking it. Because what we do is we'll go chalk it, come back the next day. If it hasn't moved, then we start the process. And then 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. And after the 72 hours, we actually give them one more day to see if they show up. If not, then we actually remove it. But that's more a resident calling and say the vehicle was abandoned, and then we just follow the process.
I'm sorry to belabor this point, but we all know when a vehicle is abandoned, you can see the leaf accumulation under the wheels. You can see this clearly was.
Yeah, I don't know how that vehicle looked. So Theo, we actually talked about like that particular one. Like, was it just because the person called, or was there sign? Like, because we see it in our garages where there's like dust, pile up this thing where it's like you can clearly,
flip a flat tire.
Yeah, and stuff like that. So
Absolutely, but a lot of calls that we give the start abandonment process is from another resident, like they, having boards in certain streets. So we start the process and we go through exactly what this stuff we talked about.
I can
But,
see about
our guys don't just go out there and, hey, see a random vehicle and just start the chopping process.
Yeah.
Be very,
yeah, it's unfortunate that some resident dispute get us involved too, but it's hard to know for sure if the person, was just out on vacation for, a week or if it's really abandoned. But you don't have to report, you leaving your vehicle 24 hours.
Okay, right.
Yeah. All right.
We've got Fran Constantino online as a comment.
Okay.
Fran, can you hear us?
Got to get her unmuted, I believe. Okay. Not letting me unmute her. I think she needs to unmute herself.
Fran, can you unmute if you want to, if you
We'll
want
type it on the chat.
Yeah. Let her know. Working on it.
Was there any other questions from the group here while we're waiting? Good.
Austin.
Yes, sir.
Would it be possible, I keep thinking about like Brittany's situation with, other small business owners in the area. I had an experience today, I was downtown in Mario, they get validation
Oh, here.
parking. Would it be possible that small business owners would get some kind of validation code to be plugged into your system to give
Fran,
them
you'll go next.
a
Okay.
discount or an hour free?
We have that, but it's not free. Like it reduced the parking charge for the customer. But what happened on the back end is the business covered that charge. It's not that, it just makes the,
Right.
Is that possible to?
yeah, that we already have that, yeah. So that's something where we create an account. So that way, so let's say you have a business,
Sure.
you have the account.
Yep.
You can decide, you give somebody an hour free of parking, 2 hours free of parking, and at the end of the month, you get a bill with all the different, usage, and then you just basically reimburse us. So we do have that.
That could be for use during prime and non-prime
Yes.
hours.
Mhm. You can decide how you want it, like when you want it, certain days and all of that stuff.
So it'd be a direct cost sent on to a small business. It wouldn't be discounted.
Correct.
Maybe we could discount it somehow with,
We're,
I don't know.
yeah, they won't
Yeah.
allow us to unless,
Okay.
that's a whole
But
show.
the technology exists with the validation.
Yes.
code and-
Yes,
Yeah, I think it would be beneficial if you guys have any information on that program, to send it out.
we can.
Good.
Okay.
Get some people signed up for that.
That's Sylvia we talked to about that?
All right, go ahead.
Hi, Fran. You're on.
Yeah, just so that everybody knows, we've been working supposedly with Austin Britt on working up some kind of plan for parking in East Ybor. I think it goes way back to when we extended the district. We asked for sidewalks and granite curbs. And of course, that was unaffordable. So they put in those asphalt curbs and people are driving over them where there's just chunks of asphalt just in the street. But the problem we have is that homeowners are parking in the right of way all over East Ybor. There's just no place for them to park. Some of them have parking pads that they've used for other reasons. So they park in the right of way on top of pipes that we had installed years ago to keep the flooding off the Junta farm. So, they're supposed to be, when I called code, they said they're supposed to be parking on the street, not in the right of way. And if they're parking
Yeah,
the
so
right
what-
of way, go ahead.
Yeah, what we'll do is we talk with Tom. We'll go and visit and see where we can clearly mark with signs to say no parking. So that way people are not parking like in the right of way itself or close to the sidewalk and stuff like that. I think that's the concern is that it's hard to know where they can and cannot park without the signage.
Well, Austin Britt supposedly is working on something, so maybe you can get with him and then he can get back with us and give us an update.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
sounds good. No problem.
Thank you, Fran.
Yeah, we'll do a walkthrough just so that way, one, there's no conflict with what Austin is working on. All right. Any other questions? All right, so we'll compile everything,
Thank you.
we'll coordinate with you, and then if there's any follow-up, we'll make sure, again, really Sylvia's gonna be the point person to make sure, like I said, from an internal customer, external customer, I want her, like, that's her primary focus is making sure, again, we might not be able to give you exactly what you're looking for, but making sure everybody better understand the process, making sure we work as a group, and then, because ultimately we want the customers to come to Ybor, have a great time, leave, and want to come back. So whatever we can do to make that happen, we'll make sure we work on that. All right, thank you all, appreciate it. Community redevelopment plan update, Bryce and Rita?
Yes. Good evening, everybody. Before I dive in, just by a show of hands, who was here during the unofficial November CAC meeting? Okay, perfect. I just kind of wanted to get a feel for the folks who had seen this presentation. I'll kind of give you guys just a brief overview of this CRP update, and then we can have, any questions or items of discussion, so that our consultant team can go ahead and incorporate that to the plan. You can go to the next slide.
Trying to make sure it's showing all the way here. There we go.
Is this?
That's not it.
Okay.
It's
It's the other one.
My mistake.
That's all right. Right.
This one?
That one, yeah, that's it. Mhm. There, yeah.
Takes me there.
It's just a JPEG.
Oh, it's just one sheet? Oh, okay.
Well, no, that is, but it should be like a PDF presentation.
So are we talking about this
No,
one?
it's just the one above it. It's the whole presentation.
Sure. Because second one.
Well, it's in your packet. So
Yeah.
here, if we have a
Really?
problem,
It's okay.
we have it in
can-
the packet. That's-
We can improv it. It's good.
All right, let's just, they can follow in the packet.
Yeah, I was
That'll
gonna
be-
say, the first slide is literally just an introduction. My name is Bryce Farringer. You guys have seen me before. I'm with the Tampa CRA. We've procured Kittleson and Associates to do this plan update for us. Just as a general side note, if you're curious about some of their work that they've done, they updated the downtown community redevelopment plan for the Tampa CRA back in 2023, and did an excellent job on it. So please feel free to take a look, if you guys are kind of wanting to get an idea of, what you can expect for this plan update. The two main planners from their team are Reba Heinrich. She's actually online with us this evening, and JP Wiesner as well. If you go to the next slide, it just talks about the agenda that we had gone over back in, not this one, back in November. Just to kind of give you guys an overview of what to expect. If you go to, I think this is for just general expectations. What they're going to go ahead and do is conduct community engagement and outreach just to get an idea of what your guys' priorities are, where the community is at. That way they can go ahead and incorporate it into the plan. They'll also do an updated existing conditions assessment for Ybor.
Reva says she has the presentation, if she can come up and show it.
Is she able to share it virtually as a
She should
guest?
see it on the-
Okay. Thanks, Reva. Appreciate it.
Look on that here really quick.
Right, there she is. There she is. Yeah, it's right there.
Perfect.
I don't know which slide you were on, but you can let me know.
You can go, I think it's this one. Yep, that's perfect.
You should be able
So,
to change your view so you're showing the presentation.
Yep, trying to get to that here. Let me see.
She's sharing. All right, here we go.
okay, perfect. Anyways, like I was saying, so it'll consist of an existing conditions assessment, both for the Ybor 1 and Ybor 2 CRP updates. One thing that I want to add, they are technically two separate districts. We're doing both of these plan updates under one contract just to keep everything concise. And then by fall, we'll move forward to the CRA board, planning commission, and city council for final approval. One thing that I just want to add, because this came up as kind of an item of discussion back in November, this is the first plan update that Ybor has had since 2004. The Florida Redevelopment Association recommends plan updates every 5 years, so we're well past that recommendation. And Ybor likely, it's changed a lot over the past 2 decades. So the main reason we're doing this is just because it's good planning, it's practical. We need to have an updated idea of what the districts actually look like. And also from a procedure perspective, the legislature has made a lot of changes, especially over the past couple of years, for reporting requirements for governmental agencies. CRAs are obviously included in that. One of those changes that they've made is ensuring that we're able to point to specific goals, objectives, and policies in our adopted community redevelopment plans to show how we're remedying slum and blight. The original plans from 2004 don't do an adequate job at doing that. So this also helps the CRA ensure that we're doing everything according to statute as well. You can go to the next slide, Ria. I think it's the calendar. Yeah, so.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Does this planning process, does it touch on things like the allocation across the CRAs for the money that was set aside for low-income housing?
It does. So are you talking about the 30% allocation? That is something that was initiated by the CRA. Is that correct, Brenda?
Well, no, it's actually part of the statute now. So
Okay.
the reason we have to update a plan is because in order to spend money, TIF dollars, you have to have it in the plan. And it has to be also consistent with statute.
Mhm.
And so this is kind of truing that up. So what happened is that affordable housing became in the statute. It's in our plan, but it's not spelled out the way it needs to be. So that's because remember when the plan was developed, we had plenty of affordable housing in Ybor City, 1989. There wasn't an issue, it wasn't even on the radar. So this will true it up, yes, but will it get into the specifics of how to spend it? Not, it doesn't have to. It just has to say you could spend it on.
So it was the statute, it wasn't the board members of the CRA that granted the set aside?
It was, well, it was both, yes, it was the board members of the CRA that set aside the 30%. Statute doesn't say 30%, that just says it's one of the allowed. You know,
So will this study address the, like, for instance, in CRA one, which has very little area for affordable, will it address that, whether or not it makes sense to do it across the board?
Yeah, yeah.
One,
hopefully-
oh, go ahead,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
One really strong benefit to them doing an updated existing condition analysis is we'll be able to see where there are potential opportunities for housing. Obviously, in Ybor City, you know, there's not as much available land for that type of use. That information will be valuable not only just for this committee, but for the CRA board as well, because it kind of puts the ball in their court for them to take a look to see what's the best way for us to truly spend these dollars in a manner that's consistent with statute and also helpful to Ybor. So in short, yes, it does, mostly by just providing that updated information. So.
And it allows you to have creative solutions. You don't necessarily have to own the land, we could partner with developers. We could do something called unit creation, which is something that's, I think Food Parks came and talked to you about unit creation and how that can play out. So, anyway, yeah.
Creation, yeah. And I don't know, I know that they've done different housing assistant programs in East Tampa. Are like roof repairs that they've done in that district, would that apply to affordable housing?
It's
So
all
that's
part of the rehabilitation program.
So
That's a specific thing.
sure. So housing rehab, that's a really specific example, but for Ybor, just potentially that may be a better, you know, option rather than creating units from scratch. So that's one of the many things that, you know, the plan of.
Right, and just so y'all know, there's a whole conversation about affordable housing, attainable housing, workforce housing. Okay, that's really what we're talking about, where the workers going to live. And just so you know, you could be in a one bedroom, I think it's a one bedroom unit, making over $100,000, and you're considered eligible for this money, like a 110 or something, whatever that number is. So that we're talking, you know, it's not just the 80%, you can go up to 140%. And B Parts, our housing person, has a whole presentation on this. So anyway, but that's a great question. And yes, the plan that's one of the things we're going to be talking about.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Oh, perfect. I was going to say project schedule. So, what you guys can expect, we do have up to 3 community workshops scheduled for this project. We're doing an online survey and then also stakeholder interviews as well. So, it's a very holistic approach. We're trying to make sure that we cover all of our bases. If you're able to go to the next slide, Riva, I think it's the questions. Next. There we go. One other thing that I wanted to take a moment to touch base on this evening, we had kind of briefly discussed some of these questions for you all during the November meeting. We didn't get any responses, so I want you all to take a look and really look through these questions. And if you have specific feedback or ideas that, you know, this firm should include, please feel free to either send them to Riva and JP directly. Their contact info is in this presentation, or you can send them directly to Brenda. But our goal is to make sure that, you know, we're getting as much feedback as possible throughout this process. And obviously the CAC plays a really important role in that. So anyways, do you guys have any questions currently?
Who are the stakeholders who have been identified for interviews?
We have a list of lots of different city departments. So city planning, parking, economic development. I don't know the full list off the top of my head. It is very extensive though.
That's yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Well,
It's the CAC, but also the
Private
neighborhood
developer.
associations, the
Yes.
civic
Yeah,
associations.
yeah, that was going to be the next thing. You know them off the top of your
Well,
head
yeah,
more than I
well,
do.
that's what the ex officios here are for. So y'all are part of that larger group that's out there. But then we have the private development stakeholders, folks that are out there that may not be on the CAC, but are very influential. So the whole point is to try to get feedback from everyone, so we can see everyone's vision, everyone's thoughts on Ybor, so you can piece it all together to a plan. So that's the exercise. As CAC members, of course, I have to publicly notice things. So one, obviously you guys, when you go to any of the meetings and so forth, those are all public meetings. That's not an issue, but there may be, a one-on-one with you. Maybe there's a one-on-one with HCC or one-on-one with some other, bigger groups that have, major properties in Ybor City that, to find out what their plans are. So, all of that, but the neighborhoods will be included. So anyway, we're working on a schedule like that, and it's part of the scope of service for the contractor, the consultant, Reba. Reba, do you have any comments about how you want to approach the stakeholder meetings?
Yeah, I can use this opportunity just to give a quick verbal update. So we're planning to, let me scroll back up to the schedule. So we plan on conducting these stakeholder meetings between mid-February and mid-April. So we're scoped up to 12. The idea is that, and that's not just 12 stakeholders, it's just meetings generally, right? So we might group, parking, transportation, things transit kind of related together into one meeting, get their perspective. And then there might be some stakeholders that require just a singular meeting, right? So the idea is that we would meet virtually or in person, and that'll be more of a focus group session. So everyone has, depending on who the stakeholder is, an agenda or sort of a shared interest or a specialized interest in the CRA. The idea is that we're counterbalancing that with our community outreach. So we're aiming for that first week of March to do our first community workshop. So folks who live in the Ybor City 1 and 2, as well as who work there, who own businesses there, will be invited to come in. That's going to be more of an intake meeting. So that's going to add to our existing conditions. What are your current pain points? What do you love? What do you want to see? Something that we talked about in November was, what the CRA sunsets, I think in 2038, something like that. I might be 4 years off. It might be 2034. So, in 8 years or so, right? So how can we leverage this plan into something that lives beyond that sunset date? So we'll be asking some of those questions to sort of what the aspirations are, and then we'll have what are effectively progress meetings on what the plan is shaping out as the next two community engagement meetings. Within that same week, we'd also like to meet with the neighborhood associations and the business associations as well, just to kind of have a very productive week of outreach. So the idea is that we're intaking all of this information from different types of stakeholders within the process and using them as a counterweight to anything that we're suggesting in the plan. So we make a goal for one thing that's going to make some people happy, some people less happy. How do we recalibrate it so that we're coming to a good compromise? That's something that we did similar to the downtown plan, as Bryce mentioned. So we're trying to align it with the values that Ybor has and make it its own sort of set of goals, objectives, strategic actions. And I know that you guys probably have to exit this room in like 11 minutes. I'll be quick. Outside of that, we are about 30% of the way through existing conditions. The majority of that is going to be community engagement. We'll follow up with data, some insights there, and then we'll get to plan writing, probably starting in spring at some point in time.
One other thing that I'll add to that, just kind of as a last note, she had mentioned it is 2034 when Ybor sunsets. Is that correct,
Yeah,
Brenda?
that's correct.
We have 8 years now, which is crazy. It's 26. If there is a situation, let's say within 5 or 6 years from now, where there needs to be an amendment to the plan, that is also something that we're able to do as a CRA. So obviously we're overdue for a full comprehensive update. If there are things that happen in the next couple of years where we really need to take a look at the plan so that there's something really specific incorporated, that's also something we're able to do. For those of you who might be familiar, Channel District actually did that with their CRP a couple of years ago. They, wrote in some language for the Florida Aquarium because that was a really specific thing that the development community and the CRA and the city kind of wanted to partner on. So I just wanted to put that out there just in case, there are concerns about that. Yes, sir.
Is the building of the parking garage on the eastern side of Ybor something that would go into the project?
We could certainly, yeah, that's one example.
It's actually in the existing plan, believe it or not.
Oh, is it really? Oh,
There's a lot of stuff in the existing plan
Yeah.
that's still being,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, one thing, at least, I know a lot of FRA professionals say this. It has to be in your plan if you want to do it, but just because it is in your plan, you don't have to do it. The purpose of the plan is to allow enough flexibility, but also a roadmap so that you're staying in line with what you actually want to do to help redevelop your district. So it's a fine line. So, do you guys have any questions or anything else? Wonderful. Well, I think that does it. Reva, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. And as soon as we have a schedule, I'll get it out to everyone on what we're looking at for these community meetings, and focus group meetings, okay?
All right, so we do have about 9 minutes left before we have to exit this room, so we're gonna move quickly
Yeah.
to reports. The projects, the grants, and the housing reports are all in your packet to review. And Brenda, you have the manager
Yeah,
report.
if y'all have any, if y'all have any questions about reports, let me know. I will tell you a little bit about Seventh Avenue bricking, since it's out there.
Yeah.
So the two street segments between 17th and 19th, there has been a bid awarded to a company. They are mobilizing, making sure they have all their ducks in order to move forward just with the street segments, not the intersections. The intersections have been designed separately. Right now, there's no activity that will happen in February, obviously, because we have a lot of events going on in the streets. So the earliest would be into March. But before we do that, I have, said that we need to have a community meeting like we did last time so that the impacted businesses are going to understand clearly what the timeline is and when, everything's going to take place. So that's where that project is, but it has been awarded. Yes, ma'am.
Just a thought, is that we all slow down business wise in the summertime? Is there any consideration of? Right, so March is the busiest time for most businesses. If you even just look at like the Visitors Information Center as a ballpark, March is the highest grossing month. April slows down, May it slows down, June and July is dead. That would be a better time for break.
I think their contract is from now till June. We can find a window, but that's why we have a community and that's why we do things not at once, block by block. And so again, just so y'all know, last time we had put together, I think 6 weeks to get 2 blocks done. And they ended up doing each block within a week and a half, which was good. One of the things we'll do, and that's a good point. We're going to find that window when there's the least amount of activity happening. Not March. Maybe it's April. See, there. Well, yeah. Well, so we'll definitely look at that. But this is between 17th and 18th, and then you'll have a break between then it'll be 18th and 19th. So those are the two impacted blocks at this time.
Is it the same company as last time?
No,
So it's not.
no.
So the
Different
bricking
vendor.
might not
They have
match.
to source the bricks and it's a different company. It went out to bid and, so yes, we're definitely working with you. I think they've done work with the city, but, not in Ybor on bricking. So
Did we use all of our own bricks already? Completely
Yes.
depleted that
And
entire
this is-
pile over there.
yes, yes. And so they have to provide historic brick. And that they have to prove that they have that supply in place. So unless something happens and they can't find the historic brick, then, it was a low bid situation. So it's like they get the opportunity and then we go from there. So I'll keep y'all posted. Again, I will definitely let you know way in advance. Thank you, Brittany, for the, the March is problematic, but anyway, I don't have any further reports. I know we're kind of running against time, but,
Want to say something real quick?
I just know there was so many brick there. Just can't believe the city went through all of it anymore
Quick
already.
question.
well, that are unclaimed. Okay, that's why the city is not sourced. In this contract, the city was not the source of the brick. Yes, sir.
David?
Two things, stormwater, I know it's on the tracking list here, but any updates on that?
Don't have any further updates on that right now, other than what's in here.
Second question, sidewalks. Where does that land on this?
That, yes, that's been brought up. We need to do an assessment of a plan on that. We need to find out where the sidewalk meets.
So I just want to share
so-
a story because I think stories are better than anything else. Just this
Yeah.
week, a couple pushing a double stroller down Fourth Avenue in the street, the 1500 block of Fourth Avenue, because there's no sidewalks there.
Mhm.
It's unacceptable in this district with all the money that we put towards bricking Seventh Avenue and everything else we do.
Yes.
We can't put a blankety blank sidewalk on Fourth Avenue, and I don't know what we're doing.
Well, I'll talk to mobility. We need to move forward with a project on this. And it can be something that if mobility, and I don't know if these are getting reported in for Tampa Connect, missing sidewalks or what have you. But if it's a matter of helping to expedite and prioritize these segments, David, we can do that with our money.
Yeah.
You see, it's just like, okay, mobility is going to do the project, but we fund it. Okay.
You know, Hinkle will push it. We just got to know where to push.
Right. So I'll talk to the projects team and then reach out to mobility about how can we move forward with this, because this has been a need for some time and we need to address it. So, and I think there's some East Ybor
Yes.
needs. So
There are.
we need a needs assessment. And I don't think we've done a full survey.
So
Maybe they
the
have.
city of Tampa needs to do a needs
Yeah.
assessment on that.
Yeah,
'cause,
and they may have it. I don't know. I have not made that connection, but thanks for bringing that up and I'll follow up.
Can I
Yeah.
add to that, not just the needs for, non-existing sidewalks that may be up there, the upkeep of existing sidewalks, to me, is a real issue. It's an accessibility issue for people, around our area. Certainly the property that we have as Hillsborough College, the sidewalks are in significant disrepair. And so anybody who has any kind of mobility limitations, never mind somebody on a wheelchair. If you're on a wheelchair, you cannot traverse our campus. And it is.
Is that mostly tree related?
It's mostly tree related, but some of it is just general upkeep of spaces. And so we've actually mentioned that. I've had conversations with Austin. And we've done walkthroughs, but it was, 2 years ago.
Right.
So to the extent that there's an opportunity to say, look, if there's going to be an assessment, can we do a broader assessment so that we can say what needs upkeep versus where are needs for new infrastructure? I would really appreciate that.
No, that's great. And this is all good stuff for our CRP too, because this then it's already in it. We can use money for it, but it's another way of getting it in there. Okay.
All right. I know we're limited here. Does anybody have old business, new business? No? All right, announcements. The next CRA board meeting, Thursday, February 12th, 2026, 9 a.m. And our next meeting will be Tuesday, February 24th, 4 p.m. right here, the Archipelago Collaborative Center. This meeting is adjourned. 1 minute at a time.
Brenda?